The moment I noticed the phone screen light up, I wished I had looked away. Nathan had fallen asleep only minutes earlier, exhausted after another 16-hour shift at the hospital in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He was my roommate, my closest friend, and the one person who always insisted everything was fine, even when the weight on his shoulders was impossible to ignore. As he slept with his head resting against the couch cushion, his phone vibrated softly beside him. The notification lit up the room with just a few heartbreaking words. "Your payment extension has been approved. Please don't skip your own medication again." In that instant, every strange thing Nathan had done over the past several months suddenly made painful sense. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a thoughtful comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that may need them the most. Until that evening, I had assumed Nathan was simply becoming distant. We had shared a modest 2-bedroom apartment for nearly 3 years after meeting at a community volunteer event. He was the kind of person who remembered birthdays, helped elderly neighbors carry groceries, and quietly left encouraging notes for coworkers having difficult weeks. But little by little, he stopped joining weekend cookouts, skipped movie nights, and always claimed he wasn't hungry whenever I ordered dinner. I thought he was trying to save money for something exciting, maybe a vacation or a new home. I never imagined he was sacrificing nearly everything just to survive. The notification stayed on the screen for only a few seconds before fading into darkness. But those few words echoed in my mind long after. I wasn't proud that I had accidentally seen it, yet I couldn't ignore what it revealed. The next morning I watched Nathan carefully. His coffee was black because he had quietly stopped buying cream. His lunch container held only a peanut butter sandwich. He smiled the same warm smile everyone loved, but it no longer reached his tired eyes. Over the following days, I began noticing things I had overlooked. Medical envelopes disappeared into his backpack before I could read them. He always insisted on paying his share of the rent exactly on time, even if it meant wearing worn-out shoes with cracked soles. His old pickup truck remained parked because he couldn't afford repairs, so he walked nearly 2 miles to the hospital before sunrise every morning without complaining. The hardest part wasn't his financial struggle. It was the reason behind it. One evening, an elderly woman knocked on our apartment door, carrying a homemade pie. She thanked Nathan for paying her heating bill during the previous winter after her husband had passed away. She had only recently discovered where he lived because someone at church had mentioned his address. Nathan looked embarrassed rather than proud. After she left, he quietly admitted that he had used the money he had been saving for his own treatment because he couldn't bear the thought of her spending the winter in a freezing house. I didn't know what to say. Here was a man skipping medication, skipping meals, and walking miles to work, all while making sure someone else stayed warm. That night, I realized friendship isn't measured by how many laughs you share during the easy seasons. It's measured by whether you notice someone silently carrying a burden too heavy to bear alone. Without telling Nathan, I contacted several people whose lives he had quietly touched over the years. Former coworkers, neighbors, church members, and even a family whose stranded car he had repaired one rainy afternoon. All wanted to help. None of them had known the sacrifices he had been making because he had never spoken about them. They simply remembered how he had shown up when they needed someone. Within 2 weeks, small acts of gratitude became something extraordinary. A local mechanic repaired his truck without charging labor. The hospital created an employee assistance fund after learning about his situation. Grocery gift cards appeared anonymously in our mailbox. Someone paid several months of his medical expenses. The greatest surprise came when dozens of handwritten letters arrived, thanking him for changing lives in ways he had completely forgotten. Nathan cried while reading them, not because of the financial relief, but because he finally understood that kindness has a way of returning when we least expect it. Every quiet sacrifice he believed had gone unnoticed had become a seed planted in someone else's heart. If this story has touched you in any way, please consider supporting the channel by liking the video, sharing it with family and friends, and subscribing for more uplifting stories that remind us of the good still living in ordinary people. Before we reach the ending, I'd love to hear from you. Please, leave a comment telling us about someone whose quiet kindness changed your life. Your story might inspire another viewer who needs hope today. Nathan eventually regained his health, not because he suddenly became wealthy, but because he finally accepted something he had spent years giving to everyone else. Help. Watching him smile without pretending everything was fine became one of the greatest gifts I have ever received. Whenever I think back to that glowing phone screen on a quiet evening, I no longer remember it as the moment I discovered my roommate's secret. I remember it as the moment I learned that the strongest people are often the ones silently carrying everyone else's burdens. And that sometimes the greatest miracle isn't finding a hero, it is reminding the hero that they never have to walk alone.